Hi, my name is Nick Gordon, and today I will be informing you about the former NFL player Brian Banks. Brian Banks is not a familiar name to many people, even though it should be. One thing that didn't surprise me was how the criminal justice system failed another black innocent man. He was someone who stood out tremendously when it came to the sport of football. Brian was only 16 years old when 6 years of his life was thrown away through time in prison and 5 years wasted on probation. Why did this happen? Because of one lie. The true story is Brian was leaving class because he got a call from a promoter. And when he was in the hallway, he ran into Wynette. And him and Wynette were speaking amongst each other, and he asked her where she was going. She told him that she was going to the 700 building. Now, the 700 building, there was a stairway there that you had to get through a ton of classrooms to get to the stairway. And all the classroom doors were actually open during this incident that so-called happened. The stairway was called the makeout area for students. That's what they called it. Brian and Wynette snuck through the hallway with all the classroom doors open, and they got to the stairway. They began to start kissing, and then they heard students coming through the hallways. Brian immediately stopped and went right back to class and telling Wynette to do the same. Now, Wynette felt as if she was just disowned and meaningless to him. And she went back to class, and when she went back to class, she actually wrote a note to one of her friends. The note that she wrote to her friend basically said that he raped her. Now, that following day after school, Wynette and her mother went to the police and reported it, and then they took the police to Brian's house and he was arrested. Now, the true story is Brian did not rape her. He was falsely accused. But that was not revealed that it was untrue until 11 years later. Now, Wynette and her mother actually benefited from the rape. Wynette and her mother actually took home a $1.5 million settlement from suing the school. With Wynette's story, it actually changed each time she told it. And the way that she told her story was that he dragged her down the hallway full of classrooms with all their doors open, and students and teachers filled in each classroom. And it's suspicious because why didn't anyone hear it? But they didn't ask that. They did not believe Brian. All they believed him about was when he admitted that him and Wynette were actually in the stairway together. They actually took it and ran with it as a confession for him raping her. They kept Brian in juvie for 2 months, and 2 months later he turned 17 and he was tried as an adult. He was offered a plea deal. The plea deal was he pled guilty and did 18 months to 5 years, or he can get up to 41 years if he doesn't take the plea deal. So he took the plea deal and he actually got the maximum 5 years, and on top of that, 5 years of probation. Once Brian got out, he constantly mailed this lawyer that actually helped him find the truth. They actually caught Wynette telling the truth on camera, and she said she didn't want to tell the truth because she didn't want to have to owe all the money back. And her mother actually did have to owe the $1.5 million plus $1.1 million in fees. Once Brian got out, he hired, he actually constantly mailed this lawyer that actually helped him find the truth. They actually caught Wynette telling the truth on camera, and she specifically said she didn't want to tell the truth because she didn't want to have to owe all the money back. And her mother actually did have to owe the $1.5 million plus $1.1 million in fees. Brian Banks was eventually able to live his lifelong dream of becoming an NFL football player. On April 3rd, 2013, he signed with the Atlanta Falcons. He played for 4 games and was eventually released soon after. He did not get to experience the sport as much as he would have liked to, but he actually got his name cleared and is a free man. And now he has let the world know the truth